today, with the food shortage that's going on, we need to know how to stock up. So today's video is how to stock up on proteins. So I'm going to share with you what are the good values and what are the not good values, how to store it for long term, not just in the refrigerator, but the freezer, the canning, and the dehydrating. So be sure you're subscribed because every week I'm going to be sharing with you how to stock up and do it correctly. Sometimes we just need to have a few tips on how to do it well, and then we know, hey, confident, I've got this. I am ready for whatever happens in this world. Okay, so when you visit a store that is a small family-owned store, you can actually talk to the butcher and ask them, okay, who's raising your meat? How is it being raised? And then you can look for the best deals. The idea of a butcher is that you actually have someone cutting up the meat for you right in front of you, so you can ask for specific cuts. Buying meat like this in the raw, you're still going to be better off than anything processed for restaurant food. So looking at the meat that we need to stock up on in Aldi, so the first is going to be your whole chicken. Now you can do so much with a whole chicken. Not only can we use this for our first meal if we were to roast it in the oven, we can use it for a second meal if there's leftovers for a chicken salad, and then we can use the bones to make chicken broth. Out of one of these whole chickens, I will make at least 6 quarts of chicken broth. That is important to understand because free chicken broth is the way I see it. Even if you don't buy organic and you're still buying the chicken or the chicken pieces, I really prefer the whole chicken first versus the chicken pieces. You still are controlling the quality of your food more than if you're buying processed or restaurant food. So if this is all you can do, then buy it. Do I want you to buy organic? Yes, but if you can't make that price point, then just buy whole foods. And then we'll pray about the other part. But get what you can and stock up on it. The next item is the ground beef. It has definitely gone up in price and it has gone up very quickly. But think about how you can stock up on this. So I can buy this, I can go ahead and dehydrate it. Yes, you can cook this completely, season it completely, and then dehydrate it. That way it will store for years. The other way is to can it. Pack this raw into a canning jar. Check out my video on how to can meat and watch how simple this process is. You don't have to cook it. You just pack it into a jar, add some seasoning and some water, and process it. And you have canned meat. Again, it will last for years and does not require any heat to make a meal later in case the heat or the gas or your electric is in short supply. So stock up on this as much as possible because this is definitely a food that we want to stock up now. When you see it, grab it. Well, here in the nut butter section, nut butters are a really good food to have on hand. In fact, I have nut butter in every one of my containers for my prepper supplies because it stores well as long as it hasn't been opened, and it's high protein and good fat, and you will always be able to satisfy your family. Now we have quite arrangement of different varieties of nut butters here. We've got them flavored such as goober grape, and we've got them unflavored, a lot of different varieties. What you're looking for is going to be on the back label. This one is saying honey almond butter, so we should have 2 ingredients, honey and almonds. So if I look on the back and I see the ingredients, we've got dry roasted almonds, we've got a palm oil, we've got organic honey, organic powdered sugar, and some tapioca starch and some sea salt. The tapioca starch is to keep its consistency, to make it creamy and help it to stay creamy and not separate. Obviously, the honey is for the sweetener flavor, but they also added a cane sugar as well. And you're going to want salt. You're not going to eat this without salt, so there's nothing wrong with having salt. Some people have differing opinions about palm oil. Palm oil is not a bad oil, but most people who understand palm oil realize even though it has an omega-6 content to it, it's coming from areas where the rainforest and things like that, so they don't like it for that reason. So there's good and bad about palm oil. I'll let you decide where you want to land on that. So Justin's is typically a good quality, good variety. You have other ones such as the sun butter, organic sunflower butter. I love sunflower butter. So here our ingredients are just organic roasted sunflower seeds, period. That's it. That's unusual to find in a sunflower butter, so this would be a really good one to buy. You've got 100% peanuts here in this one, non-GMO. Peanuts are not a GMO crop. Once again, we're trying to make sure nothing else has been added to it. Now this one you're going to have to stir because the oil has separated and risen to the top. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just something you have to do. But the only ingredients is peanuts. Actually, not even any salt. So you're going to need a salt shaker with this one. Typically, you'll have peanuts and salt. So you may find this to be a little bit bland flavored, but it still just sprinkle it with a little salt when you serve it. So that's how you want to look for it. So if you're going for some of the almond butters or some of the traditional peanut butters, let me show you one over here. So this one, we have Skippy, we've got reduced fat. So what they've done is after it's separated, they removed a lot of the fat. Fat is not your enemy. So you're looking for, the fat content here is 12 grams, cholesterol 0, that's fine. Sodium is low, carbs are 14, but carbs is not a bad carb. But it says we have sugar, and then we have protein is 7. So if we look at the ingredients, quite a list of ingredients that I would not buy this product because of. So we got roasted peanuts, we've got a corn syrup right there. Once I saw that, I would put it back on the shelf right where it was and then walk away. I do not want that in my peanut butter. So quinoa is just a delicious, it's a complete protein. So we get that benefit and the fiber. So we get a double bang for what we're getting in our diet. This is a very good brand here, organic, non-GMO verified, excellent choices. Quinoa actually expands so you can eat just a little and get a very satisfying meal. So here we are in the bean section. Your best value, if you're saying, Annette, my budget is too tight, I just can't afford everything you're suggesting, then you're going to need to go to the dried beans. I have dried beans in each one of my prepper containers because it's a food that I can satisfy my family well. Not only the beans, but you also have the lentils. Lentils are so satisfying. In fact, my recipe in the Healthy Treasures cookbook for the lentil salad, oh, that is one of my favorite meals to eat. I also have a wild rice bean salad in there. Oh, so good. If you're on a tight budget or if you just want to save money, then buy them dried. What you're going to get out of this big bag of pinto beans is like 10 cans of these products up here. So yes, organic would be good, BPA free, all of that, no preservatives, but yet just cooking them yourself. You could throw them in the crock pot the night before, let them cook overnight. The next day you wake up, your beans are done. They're ready to be added into any recipe. You've saved money, you've gained nutrition, and it's just a win-win. Next, we have almonds. Almonds give us the protein, they give us some of the essential fats, but they also give us the fiber. Imagine just putting these in your smoothies, on your salads, on your soups, or just eating them as a handful. Maybe not a handful, but maybe, 6 to 8 almonds as your snack if you need a snack, or as your protein and fat and fiber for a meal. So Kroger had some ground turkey. It's not organic. Not always are you going to be able to find organic, but still buying this versus buying processed food or restaurant food, it's a better option. Again, same options. You can also dehydrate. So we've mentioned canning, we mentioned freezing, we mentioned making the broth. Next is dehydrating. So you can kind of see I have my new dehydrator behind me, and it is kind of the bomb for dehydrators. Stainless steel, all of that. It is pretty cool. So we have some ground turkey. If you found this at a really good price, then buy lots of it. Can it or dehydrate it. Now when to can it, we have to have raw, fresh meat. To dehydrate, we want fully cooked meat. So that's the only difference. Now, when I went to Tom Leonard's, which is always my favorite market, I picked up some London broil. I actually picked this up for 2 reasons. One, to show you that you can get personally cut meats. Now, sometimes personally cut meats can save you time and money. What I'm going to use this for is to make beef jerky. This is the best cut of meat to make beef jerky. So with that new dehydrator back there, London broil is your best cut to make beef jerky. The point is, if you have a farmer's market, or which is actually an excellent option, or you have a grocery store that's family owned, that's how you can get to find out how the farmers are raising the meat. When you go to the big chain stores, it's a long series of phone calls. Believe me, I have done it to find out, okay, what farms are you getting it from? And then finding out how they're raising their cattle. Most, I'm not going to say all of the meat in the big chain stores, but most of it is fed the conventional way. And I talk about that in the Treasures of Healthy Living Bible study. So although I'm still going to tell you when you buy the meat raw, you're still ahead of buying processed or buying prepackaged or buying restaurant food. So it's still a step ahead. So it's just steps. So take what step you can and stock up with your family. All right, moving on. So this is my canned meat, my broth. Then I was at Sam's. Now in Sam's, I totally stocked up on the canned tuna and I prefer it in the water, and sometimes I mistakenly get it in the oil. It's not going to hurt you in the oil. It's just more calories, and it's not bad calories. It's actually, for prepper purposes, getting the tuna in the oil would be better because you're going to get more oil in your diet without having to buy extra oil. Now, here is the bomb for Sam's. They had this netting with 2 frozen chicken in it. It's organic, non-GMO. Grabbed a couple of these packages. I only have so much freezer space, so I'm hoping I can get some of these cooked down or some of them cut up raw and put into my canning jars, or already cooked and put in my dehydrator, because I need to store it so I can go buy some more. But definitely, if you are near a Sam's, or check out Costco, they probably have some sales too. Now, the downside of this catching sales is sometimes you have to be in the stores more often than you want to spend the gas to go do. So, that's where we make everything a matter of prayer. Lord, you know my budget. Now I'm trusting you to stretch my budget and to help me feed my family well. That is what Proverbs 31 is all about. It's about feeding your family well. It's about not being afraid when times get tough. It's about preparing your family for the snow, okay? Food shortage is snow. Let's just put it that way. And preparing your family and knowing that you have the confidence to feed your family. They also had at Sam's some double packages of just chicken thighs, boneless chicken thighs. So this, I cut them apart, put them in my freezer, and this allows me to just have a quick grab and go for a meal. So these are the tips that I wanted to share with you. When you find the food that matches what your family is going to enjoy or tolerate, we're going to move from thinking about, okay, what do they really, really like, to what can they eat and be sustained. Protein is the most important ingredient. Having protein in your diet is going to help balance blood sugar. It's going to reduce the need for insulin, and it's going to help with metabolism, and it's going to help with your hormones. So protein's very important. And so having protein at the beginning of each meal, I always teach the people in the inner circle and my coaching clients, start each meal with 2 bites of protein before you dip into anything else, and you're going to slow down the release of glucose and insulin. And so that's a huge tip. You'll also reach satiety sooner. And if we go into critical times, you want your family to feel satisfied. You want them to reach that level of satiety quickly and not feel like, I'm still hungry and we don't have any more to eat. It's not going to be like that. So trust the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, which means this is part of acknowledging him. So trust him with everything, even your food. And with this being the protein, it's important. But yes, you could have meals with just beans and legumes, and that's fine. So thanks for letting me share this with you. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel if you're watching it on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure and hit like, and always hit the bell on YouTube so we can stay connected when I'm posting the next video. I'm going to be doing quite a series of videos on prepping and storage, and because it's where we are. I realized I was already doing it, adding a little bit more to my pantry, and I figured out you might want to know how I'm doing it. Thanks for letting me share with you God's recipe for excellent health.